Welcome back to the dopest show you won't get sick of. I'm Spencer, and this is Sasha. I spent most of my 20s in federal prison, but I've been off heroin since April 9, 2010. Got a lot of stories about the dumb stuff I did to get put in prison. I've also got a lot of stories about the crazy stuff that happened when I was actually in prison. And God forbid you end up in prison, want to make some of the same mistakes I made. At intro, why I say that? A lot of people have purpose of this and that. A big purpose of why I tell these stories are when I was on federal bond for my federal charges before going to federal prison for a good part of my 20s, I tried to find information on YouTube. There wasn't prison YouTubers. There was not good information, okay? It was just turned out Alabama and Fleece Johnson trying to go after boys, okay? It scared you. It scared you. Made me lift weights and train karate, open to close 6 days a week, 4 hours a day, and go to a bunch of seminars, but it did not give me a lot of good information, okay? A lot of the federal system specifically, yeah, USPs are awful. They're terrible. That's the worst place you could be of any prison. I mean, the federal United States penitentiaries are violent, and they don't even punish the violence by much. Like, if somebody gets shanked at a medium, they'll end up in the hole for probably 6 months before they get sent to a USP. Shank somebody at a low, you're going to be in the hole for a year straight. There was guys that I was in solitary with that had been in there for 11 months straight for shanking people. Okay, USPs, they throw them in there, I've heard, for 2, 3, sometimes 4 weeks. Let them back out. Don't even charge them. Do that at a medium or a low, they're going to give you an outside charge. You're going to get more time. USPs is so common. People don't make it to their dorm if they've got something bad, because you know why? They give a list to the people that are in laundry, and they have to make the clothes with the name tags, and they have them looked up. So before they're even there, they know what they're in there for. But USPs only make up about 10% in the federal prison system. Mediums make up a good part of it, but lows and camps make up better than 50%. Okay, wasn't at a camp. Camps aren't even really prison. That's club fed. Low security was at there, and I was at a medium. It wasn't a serious medium. There was a lot of violence there. It was unusual stuff. But I want to give realistic information. I'm not going to try to scare you, tell you Bubba's going to get your butt. I want to tell you what's real. Without the I go hard, I'm so hard, and blowing my image up and all that stuff. Okay, look at it just analytically, just as like a mathematical equation, risk assessment, stuff that I can tell you that makes more sense. That's a big part of it. So I say that just coming in here. And when I watch this stuff in jail to jail is like a completely different place. Roanoke County, that's a nice little jail. Roanoke City, oh, that's gladiator school. Roanoke County, they give you your tray one by one. Roanoke City, they count the number of inmates, and there's about 10, 15 inmates in these little rooms they got, and they pop the doors. You have to sprint to get your tray. And somebody grabs 2 trays, and you're the last one to get there, ain't none left. You're going to have to say something to them, or you're not going to eat. That's almost like they want you to fight. And if you talk back to guards, I have friends that are out currently that will tell you stories about them talking back and doing stuff to guards and getting beat up and then left in solitary until they heal up. So then they can't get in trouble for it. They have a bad reputation. There's been a lot of stuff with investigations working there. Regional jail, that's a place too. Not a good place. But anyway, 60 days in, if y'all been watching that with me, it's most recent episode. I'm about a day behind on it. And we'll start with my favorite douchebag, not the Latin King dude. Now, he said, talk about solitary. Been there, done that. I lived it. He's one of the people that like to brag about what he did. You didn't do solitary. You were allowed commissary. You were allowed a phone call every day. I believe they even had video visits. That's not solitary. Solitary is being in a room where you're not allowed to have commissary. 4 a.m. is breakfast, 10 a.m. lunch, and 4 p.m. is dinner. You don't get nothing in between. The only thing you can order off commissary is hygiene, and you can order a pack of cough drops. That's what they call shoe candy, secure housing unit candy. That pack of cough drops, man, eat it like candy. And I remember eating Tums. Had to be careful because, it's got stuff you eat too many of them, it make you sick. But that's solitary. Getting somebody knock on my door every day from the SIS people because I wouldn't tell my buddy Pinto saying you're going to Texas. That's solitary. That wasn't solitary. But anyway, he makes a swole. Now what's a swole? Okay, ramen noodles with a bunch of beef logs and stuff like that. He makes it, tries to make it look like he'd been in jail for, which he has, makes it look. But he starts giving the food away to everybody. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice. But wasn't this the same guy who embarrassed, act like he was going to fight his roommate because his roommate was going to give some food to somebody that had loaned him a book? And now he's giving stuff away. Hypocrite. Hypocrite. Oh, my Lord. That's annoying. He's giving food to everybody, talking about, so then if something goes down, they'll have his back. Nah, they're looking at you like a sucker, okay? You can't be giving stuff out like that. You got a couple people. Now, if you want to do something nice for people, you make a deal. So, I had money. I had a house that was left to me from my grandma when I was in jail. So, I had a few extra bucks spent. I was trying to put on some muscle. And I also had friends in there I knew didn't have much money. Coffee's like a drug in there. Everybody drinks coffee. Instant coffee. It costs about $5. I believe it's $5.05 a pack when I was in jail. I made deals with people. I give you a bag of coffee. It's like every 2 weeks I give you a bag of coffee. They give you 2 8-ounce cartons of milk every morning. I had like 15 meals. This is in the book, Dope Sick. The 50 pages of my story, that's in the book. About me trading the coffee for milk and lifting. Went from 130 pounds to about 185 pounds. I was chubby, put on, it was about half muscle, half fat, being real about it. But I get the muffin top explosion. I don't get a gut, so I just look like I was jacked. But I wasn't. But I did put on a good bit. But, I help them because they're helping me. They're giving me the milk, giving them the coffee. And that's when I learned to speak up. I was buying 2 bags of coffee a week, drinking a quarter bag. And I had to learn to say no. Magical word. No. Don't got to help everybody. I like you, but I like me a lot better. That's a big thing. And there's going to be bums. There's pod bums that are going to ask everybody. As soon as you come in there, they're going to see, hey, he's the one I can get coffee from every day. I just ask him for one a day. I get one a day out of him. And there's some people get money, still ask it. Why should they buy it when you're going to give it to them? Yeah, there are people like that. See, anyway, that was a little hypocritical thing about him. The TikToker, he just misses his baby girl. He looked like he might quit. I don't think he's going to, though. That was all that's going on with him. There's a black woman, Serenity. She runs programs helping, inmates, felons get back on their feet programs. I think it's like a welding program, something like that. I like her. She's chilling. She just observes. She's just hanging out, ain't causing no ruckus. Just going with the program and not complaining. Now, in her unit, it's supposed to be quarantined. In the other units, it makes sense. It's cells that have doors. You can't have, face-to-face air, breathing each other's face contact. There's cells in this pod. The front wall of it is just like bars, like grid bars. And when they let people out for their 1 hour a day, which he switched it to 3 hours a day because so many people were quitting. That was for the program, keep everybody from quitting. People are going right up to the thing and in each other's face breathe. That's not quarantine. I ain't doing nothing. There's no point in that. You should just let them go on. It doesn't even make sense. And that's the thing. The guy saying, been that, done that, the ex-Latin King dropout, got jumped out or whatever, saying, been there, done that. Man, you were out 21-3. That's definitely not solitary. You get to walk around a pod. The 1 hour you got in the shoe was you got to walk around a cage. It has walls all around it. That was it. And when you go there, they're going to search your cell. So if you snuck the radio, which everybody did, a lot of people put it under their old, under the nuts whenever they went to go see DHO. Because when you go see the disciplinary officer, they go in your room, they get that radio. I bought an extra radio. I left one for them to get. I didn't put it under my nuts. Where are they going to find that? So I've got a whole bunch of vanilla envelopes, about 15 of them. Said, everybody pass me your old magazines you're tired of reading. Stuffed all the magazines in. I cut a hole between one of them, put a couple on the sides, had the radio in there, left the radio for them to find. They weren't going to go through all the magazines. They got the radio. They're like, shoot. I had mackerel food that I snuck back there. It lasted me a little bit. And that radio kept me sane. Because when it's loud all day, people screaming, kicking the door. But when it's silent, it's so silent it hurts your ears. When it is silent in my house, I have a panic attack. I have to have a fan or something on at all times because I have a straight up panic attack if it's the sound of complete silence because it takes me back to that. Also, during that time, they starved you. So when I ran out of the mackerel and stuff, they're telling me, having guards come to my door, laugh, tell that they're going to send me to Beaumont, Texas. I was hungry. My stomach hurt. And I was the worst stressed I've ever been. So when my stomach hurts, even if I'm not stressed, I start getting anxious because I associate that stomach pain with that anxiety. I was a 23-year-old kid. There wasn't no reason for that just because I wouldn't tell on somebody. Shame on them for that. That was absolutely wrong. There was no point in it. And, I said something to hurt his feelings. He called him spoiled white boy. I don't like the white boy stuff. Nobody should call somebody a boy. That's not cool. He's a Puerto Rican SIS lieutenant. He kept on. And my buddy Pinto is one of my best friends on the planet. Puerto Rican, okay? Got a lot of Puerto Ricans that are my friends. But the SIS lieutenant kept doing this white boy stuff, saying he's going to put my mom in prison because I had money put on somebody else's books to buy mackerel. Mackerel's a source of protein. It costs $1.15 at Commissary, but it's a prison dollar. It's the unit of payment at the low security, the medium at Stamps. I bought 120 mackerel for $80. It was a good deal. But the guy I bought it from was tied up in some stuff, so they assumed I knew a little bit more than I was talking about. He kept saying, white boy, he's going to put your mom in prison. And he kept saying, you got it from him. Son, you got it from him. I said, I didn't get it from him. I got it from some other Puerto Rican. He said, what do you look like? I said, I don't know. You guys look alike to me. Now, I know that wasn't nice. My buddy Pinto, he's one of my best friends on the planet, is Puerto Rican, so nothing against anybody. But when I said that, he smacked the table and said, you're going to Texas, and had them torment me the remainder of my sentence. It's messed up. But anyway, that's what solitary is. That girl Serenity, she's chilling in that and just doing that. I talked about this guy in prison, Seizure Boy. They made him a helmet. I have a story about it a few back. They made this guy a helmet. The first day I was standing in pill line, I look at this little Native American fella. He's staring at me. Just staring at me I'm like, and he goes, and I'm like, and his body stiffened, boom, hit the ground, and he seized out, and then he came to and he said, ow, which shouldn't be funny, but it was funny. And he kept falling out. We let him go first in pill line. He'd show up late, and if he fell out, it meant it was going to take us an extra hour to get our medication. So he'd say, no, I'll wait. We're like, no, you won't. You're going to go ahead and get your medication. They built him a helmet. He had a hat that looked like Kyle off South Park, but like they may put fabric around it, but it's cushion. But anyway, there's a girl in there that keeps faking seizures. My fiance had seizures that were stress related. She had them a lot with her ex. Since being with me, she hasn't had one in probably the last 2 years. That's how I know it's stress related. But it's scary, and it just happens randomly, and it stops. And I also live with somebody. I talked about the guy who had the rich mom that owned the realty company, and he just sees out. And he just sees out and starts shaking, and his whole body would tense up. And then I'm just, trying to make sure he doesn't fall or hurt himself, bang into anything. And then he just snaps out of it, and he goes, did I just have a seizure? Oh my God, did I just have a seizure? But he took a lot of benzodiazepines, so when he ran out of them, he'd have seizures. I've been around people that have seizures. This girl's faking like crazy. So there's a girl in there that had a blood transfusion. She's really ill for real. Keep trying to call the officers. They're not listening for anything. And then they say, well, get her to come down here. They're like, we'll see if she can walk. They're trying to help this girl down there. The one girl who's helping her, well, the seizure girl's walking behind them. I guess that girl's getting too much attention. She falls down and fakes a seizure. And as she's walking down the stairs with somebody helping her, you see her grin. And the one girl, Serenity, the black woman who's in this pod, who I like her. Buddy, got my little mutt dog wandering around. She said, she falls out a lot. I don't know about these seizures that she's been talking about having. Buddy, get up. And yeah, she's faking these seizures. I've been around people with seizures. She's talking during her seizures. You don't talk during a seizure saying, please don't let me die. And she's causing a ruckus and everything else. So she has a seizure. They get the girl downstairs. They talk on, buddy, go over there. You gonna sit here and watch, buddy. Scoot, 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 scoot. Scoot, 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 scoot. Scoot, buddy, scoot. Scoot. I apologize, I have to do that. If not, he'll sit there and he'll go, she's getting ready to go in heat, so I'm going to have to hear that for 2 weeks straight. It's been neutered, but the whole time she's in heat, that's all he does. It's awful. I love him. I've taken care of him. I've taught him tricks. Everybody said he was too stupid. He is terribly abused, and I've gotten him back normal now. If he bumps into your leg on accident, he used to scream like a grown woman. Like, you'd think a woman was in the room screaming. But anyway, he's mostly back to normal now. He's a good dog, though. I love him. He wandered through 12 miles of wilderness, found Casey. She's kept him ever since. Missing half his teeth. He ate rocks and trash to survive. But anyway, rocks didn't help him survive. I know somebody's going to say something stupid about that, but that's why half his teeth are busted out in black. But anyway, so they get down the stairs. Seizure girl sitting down. She's wanting to be seen by medical, too. This poor girl with the blood transfusion sitting there waiting that had it before she went in, and she's really hurting. She's really hurting. The girl that helped her down the stairs is, I believe it was a blonde-headed white girl, chubby girl. She falls out and has herself a seizure. Faking it, too. Ain't no way that two people just had a seizure at the same time. when this one poor girl, so they come out and they're talking to the two seizure girls, and this poor girl with the blood transfusion just sitting there like, I need help. And they're paying attention to they didn't get enough attention as a child. I mean, come on, faking a seizure. You got this poor girl there, and I felt bad for that girl. A black woman sitting down there who had a blood transfusion. Got these two fools sitting out there pretending they had a seizure. Just, was it contagious? I've seen people with seizures. They didn't have a seizure. They're faking it. Didn't get enough attention as a child. And the Serenity girl just like, this place is crazy. So anyway, they end up moving most of them to the out of quarantine, solitary, to a pod. The Mekhi Phifer guy, who I like him too, I call him Mekhi Phifer. He's a black dude, but you know Mekhi Phifer in 8 Mile, he always had that one dread going down the middle of his face. He got that one dread going down the middle of his face, but I like the dude, he's cool. So basically, you know, what happened was the showers are messed up. In jails, in prison. When I first got to prison, it had a lever. You could turn it cold, you could turn it hot. They changed that. They put this thing on there. They think they're saving water. People still use just as much. You press a button, it has like a 30-40 second spurt of water. That's how it is in a lot of jails, and it's one temperature. Their shower was messed up. It was going in 4-second spurts. 4-second spurts before you got to press it. So you got to have one hand pressing the button as you're trying to wash yourself. The Mekhi Phifer guy, they had the camera crew inside the unit. And he asked the guy who's a sergeant in there, listen, the shower's messed up. The sergeant gets on the phone. They fix it an hour later. And he says, they wouldn't normally do that. I think that's because the camera crew was in here. And that's true. In prison, they have inspections from regional. They know about it a week ahead of time. How you can't have a random inspection when they know about it. Because they would tell us 2-3 weeks ahead of time. And they'd get the place spotless. They'd feed us the most amazing man, the food when inspection was coming around, oh man, I can't complain. That was incredible. They'd make fried chicken, you'd have slices of pineapple, fried, all kinds of stuff, man. And you have fried chicken every week, that's good, but like on these days, you were getting like a lot. Like they'd have special, like they'd go all out. Like they give you the biggest meal, like it was better than Golden Corral on inspection day because they were trying to show up for inspection. And all the stuff it's a show. And just like that, with the camera crew being in there, they were putting on a show, getting it fixed. Well, he was happy. Now, before I speak about this, the pod boss of the unit is a big white guy with tattoos with a gray beard. Bull rider. He was a bull rider outside. He's like the guy who's got the most respect, the pod boss. He just does a handstand, kicks his feet up against the wall, does some handstand push-ups. You know, he's got some balance, coordination, and some muscle. He's a country boy, big old dude, everybody in there, and he's a good dude. When you have a good guy, I didn't see as much pod bosses, you know, place to place. There was one time during 7 weeks in which I kind of was, and I get people who were here from that time. There was one of my sister's friends who was in there. He got the most raw deal ever. He doesn't do drugs, don't do any of that, but he had a friend who did drugs. His friend kept calling him, asking him for a ride. He gave him a ride to a little place that's a sporting goods store. He sold some stuff that he stole. My sister's friend didn't have nothing to do with it. He didn't get none of the money, nothing. But when the police asked the dope fiend that he gave a ride to the store, did he know you were doing it? He said yes. So my sister's friend got put in jail for 30 days for that. It was wrong. Gave him a record, everything. He was a college kid, but I looked out for him. He wasn't a fighter. I had mitts that I made out of socks and toilet paper, 2 rolls of toilet paper and socks, and I was showing guys how to box a little bit, how to punch a little bit, and he keeps doing this, but he won't hit it, and I said, get mad, get mean, think of somebody you hate, and he goes, I've never been mad enough to hit anybody before, and I was just like, it's all right, bud, I'll watch out for you. And 2 days before he was getting ready to go, when people get ready to get out of jail and they don't have any money left, they starve, so they do stupid stuff like for people's amusement to get like a couple honey buns of soups. He was going to eat a piece of a honey bun that had fallen on the ground that had a cock-hair tumbleweed and a half tied into it. So then somebody gave him a couple. I gave him a couple things. I said, "Nah, man, you can't do that." But I had the tea. It was a small pod in Roanoke County. It wasn't like I did anything special. I wasn't like some big gangster for being the pod guy. But I mean, I had control over the TV. There's other stories with that. It's funny. But I thought I was going to prison. I didn't think I was getting back out. A community service lady told some stuff on me, which got exposed, and she got in trouble. And I did 7 weeks, but I was rude and loud, and I wasn't mean to nobody and didn't deserve it, but I wasn't putting up with nothing. I was going, went up and I was like, TV, I was like, mine. And, you know, everything else. I was an angry kid. I was 228 pounds when I went in there that time. Got a picture of it. I'll put it up sometime. But I was angry, and that was that. But in terms of pod bosses, I ain't seen too much of pod bosses. Like in most pods, you know, you got different groups, different races, everything else. And you got some people that are a little bit more known and, you know, of certain groups that are a little bit more leader. It's usually a strong guy who's usually, you know, got a little bit older, 30s, 40s, 50s, and, you know, stuff like that. But anyway, this guy's the pod boss. That's how it works out. White guy, and he's a good guy. Everybody likes him. And when somebody like that is in power, it runs smooth. If you get an idiot, it runs terrible. It makes everybody's time go bad. But anyway, the Mekhi Phifer guy is excited. They fixed the shower. So he's like, celebrates. It's 2 p.m. You see this little white guy who looks like he got two squirrels screwing on top of his head. I know I need a haircut, but this guy's got, it looks like I don't know, like a bowl cut extended coming off of his head in a half. And he comes out and he starts mocking the Mekhi Phifer guy. Says, "Mother," he starts cussing. He says, "Whoa, I was almost asleep." Young guy, probably in his 20s. Well, he's talking about you, mocking you. Now, how these cells are set up is it's kind of like a dorm, but you got cells. There's no door opening, so it's kind of like cubicle type deal. And it's open. He's in the bathroom fixing himself something to drink. The Mekhi Phifer guy's like, "Well, you're talking about me, so you're addressing me." And he goes over there, he pulls up on him. He's like, "What's up? You want to do something? You got a problem? You're going to talk about me. You're going to have to deal with it. I'm here now." And he punched the guy out. And then the bull rider guy, who's the pod boss, speaks up for him. And he said, "It's 2 o'clock. You're going to complain about somebody making noise. You sleeping in the middle of the day like some kind of bum." He says, "I know he'll go. And I'm always ready to go." And he spoke up for him. So I respected that. You know, different races. But he spoke up for what was right. You could see with him, right is right. It's not about race. And the bull rider guy, I like him. He's a cool dude, you know, good dude. I wonder what he got put in jail for. Because, I mean, he seems like he got it together. I wonder if he got addiction or alcohol. But it hits people like that. Good people get addiction and alcohol issues. They end up in jail, get off the drugs. They're good people in there, too. But he pulled up on him, and he said what he needed to do. He checked him. He checked him, and he needed to check him. Because that boy was running his mouth, making fun of him in front of the whole unit. The whole unit, he's making fun of him. There's also a 17-year-old, the Mekhi Phifer guy, you know, got to talking to. This guy's got like a $300 bond and is stuck in there. It said he's 17 years old. I don't know how he's in an adult jail, what the rules are with that. I've never heard of that. That's juvenile halls where he should be in, but it said he was 17. I don't know if that's confused or if that's actually what it is. Maybe somebody can tell me if 17-year-olds can be in a jail with adult. I've never heard of that. It's not right and it's not safe to do because they can be taken advantage of. But he's a young kid, young black kid, always smiling. Seems like a good kid. He's shoplifting, and nobody bonded him out. So the Mekhi Phifer guy was going to give him the money. Everybody in the pod was going to put a few dollars in, you know, to the $70, sent it to his mom to have him bonded out. He called his mom, and his mom said, "No, you need to stay in there and learn your lesson." That happened to me. First time I went to jail, ended up doing drug court. I had like a $500 bond, which cost $100. I called all my joker friends, all the ones who, when you're messed up, say, "Have your back." Not a one of them had my back. I got left in there. Got left in there for the month. Got told, "You can either stay in here for about another month or you can do drug court." So I said, "Okay, I'll try drug court." They let me out 2 days later. I was out like a week or two. They put me back in jail for a month. Then I had to do a month in rehab. I should have stayed in. And that's where I met all the people that led. In the rehabs where I met the biggest dealer in my city, so I went from fame to cornering the market. Back during that time, anybody can tell you from Roanoke College, any of that area, you know, there's some people. There's a dude named Max. Anybody knew Max, anybody knew that, it was pretty much me. And the whole chain of events that led things to happen started with that, being in that rehab, meeting the man, big man, 6'3", 350, played college football for West Virginia. Known all through the city. Anybody who's a top dealer knows this guy. They heard about him. And, you know, something about him is a little bit interesting. I figure I'll throw out there. He's telling me he did 5 years in federal prison. I thought, whoa, 5 years. And he said he got caught with a couple, you know what, and half a brick. I thought, shoot, man, you got a lot of time. I didn't know that if you get caught with a piece, That's 10 years. That's 5 years for the piece. You're going to get another 5 minimum for the dough. He has been in trouble. I believe he's been to prison 3 times, and the most recent time he should have been getting hit with the book, career criminal. He got like 2 years for distribution. He's telling on everybody, and that's the guy who my best friend drove me to meet him. Well, actually, my friend drove me to meet him. My best friend was in the back seat texting advice. I thought he set me up. He thought I set him up. I got the papers for when I got charged that day. They charged me. I mean, that's what I did drug court for my state charges for. But we were left thinking it was each other, and that really messed me up. I couldn't believe my best friend did it. It took me over a year to come to terms with what the truth was. But anyway, so he's in there. They're trying to guide the kid, you know, and everything else. Then there's this other kid. I think he's a little white kid with like face tattoos and stuff. And he's talking about somebody who got switched to another pod. He's like, he's glad I'm not in here. We were going to bang. I was going to go in on him. And he's talking a mile a minute, running his mouth, trying to prove to everybody how tough he is. He's skinny as can be. I don't think he could do 20 push-ups. And he's talking about how hard he goes and how hard his gang goes and blah, 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 and this and that. He's a little white kid with face tattoos, okay? There are a lot of people like that in there that are just annoying, that are just impossible to be around because they just never shut up. They're loud, and they're trying to convince you how tough they are. When you get a certain age, you're just like, you know what? I know what I'm capable of. I don't need to tell nobody about it. But if somebody, you know, pulls out, I'm going to show them about it. But this little guy just is, bah. That King dude told him, you know, you like to energize, but, you know, just calm down, be quiet, you know, be cool, just be cool a little bit. Which for that, he was right. I will go with him on that. The guy's like, yeah, but I'm going to turn up and this, talking all this crazy stuff. You're a little white guy with face tattoos. You know better than the Island Boys. You know what I mean, it's new generation. I mean, some about it, but I mean, there's a whole new generation of foolishness. A 6ix9ine, you know, the guy with the rainbow hair and all that. And there's a whole new generation of foolishness. Okay, you know, it's crazy. You know, don't understand it. But anyway, yeah, it's built a reputation off of actions, not running your mouth. You know, there were stories that got spiraled out of control about me to where my sister was in school. She was in, I think she was in the 9th grade. She came home and she said, I heard today that you have a little jar with somebody's pinky in it. That you have somebody's finger and it's black and there's a bone sticking out of it and it's in a jar. I said, people say some crazy stuff, but you know, you get a reputation for doing crazy stuff and it gets circulated around. You don't got to run that mouth. You don't do that. When you talk less about yourself and other people do more talking about you, you know, that's something else. But that life ain't nothing to do. So I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about conducting yourself as a man and everything else. Knowing as somebody who's a good friend, a good person to your family, and somebody who will stand up and smack somebody if need be. You know, that's part of being, you know, people say what they want, but, you know, this whole generation of, oh, no, you need to be able to handle yourself. God forbid something happens, you know, say you're with your family, you need to be able to do something about it. And, you know, be the one to stand up. There's one person who's acting crazy, intoxicated, and everybody else scared to say something. You know, I'm going to be the person who tries to talk to that person and is willing to put that person down. And, you know, that's something, you know, too many bystanders in this world. People see something bad, and rather than helping people, they pull that phone out and record. It's an unusual time we live in. George Orwell predicted all this in that book, 1984. Cameras everywhere. It's not the same as it used to be. Nothing is the same as it used to be. But anyway, rambled on long enough on this one. Sorry it's a day late. If you like the video, press the like button. If not, that is 29 minutes and 5 seconds of your life in which you'll never get back. My little girl, my stepdaughter that I love to death. Consider her mine. You know, I think she's closer to considering me a little bit of a father figure. I told her I'm not trying to replace her dad, nothing like that, but her dad sucks. He's had a party for every one of his stepkids. Didn't have nothing to do with her party. Always promised he's going to do something, don't do nothing. And she was walking with her mom the other day and said something about, you know, talking about how it hurt her feelings and everything else. And I do make her mind manners. You know, I tell her we can have fun, but you're not going to be telling people what that she's got a few issues with that. Telling people what, no, I don't put up with it. You're a child. You're a child. You're not going to tell adults what to do. You're not going to be rude. You say please, you say thank you, you have manners, and you have respect. We can have the best time ever. I never will say anything to make her feel less than. I will criticize behaviors. I will never criticize her. I'll never call her stupid. I will never do this, never do that. I will criticize behaviors. I will never criticize her. I'll try to boost her up every way that I can, but she's walking with her mom. You know, sometimes I think she can't stand me. When they're 8 to 10 years old, they love you. You're a hero. Around 11 and 12, they start to realize maybe you're an a-hole. I don't like you anymore. And, you know, she 13, so, you know, it's that age. And she said something to her mom. They were walking, you know, Casey, and she said, Spencer can be the dad that I never had. And that hit my heart, you know. She's bought me a few little things, like in the school fairs. It says, like, #1 dad, stuff like that, you know. I try as hard as I can, but it's like I'm not cool because I'm old. I do all I can, but you know, it's a pre-teen girl getting ready to be a teen girl. What do I have in common? You know what I mean? Not a lot. But I try best I can. You know, certain TV shows and stuff, Stranger Things. I watch that, certain thing like that we can talk about. You know, I'm trying. It's a tricky road to navigate because I'm not going to come in there and be like, listen, I'm your dad now. You got to follow everything I say, but if you act up, I'm going to say stuff about the behaviors. I'm not going to let you tell people what to do, you know. I went 5 years in federal prison without having people tell me what to do. I'm not going to have a preteen girl tell me. I'll be damned. But, you know, I love her to death, and, you know, she's a great kid at school. At home, she got a mouth, and she got some issues with that. Now she got a little cousin, Casey's sister, and their family just moved back. They got a little boy and a little girl, so he's in class with her, which makes me feel good. He's a little bit rotten, but I'm going to teach him how to fight. He's in the same class with her. They're always around each other. They're best friends. So I'm going to teach him to fight so he can take care of her. You know what I mean? Also, you know, that's a good thing too. You can't do nothing today. It's bad. But if you're teaching somebody karate or boxing or kickboxing, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, judo, kid gets bad, they get home, they done something bad at school, tell them put the gloves on and sparring. That ain't abuse. I'm just kidding. I never do nothing bad like that to a kid. I don't have that in me. I love little kids. I was around people that, chomos, that just disgusted me, and I'm a little ultra protective, but want to give them, you know, just be the best I can be for them. So I ran a little bit about this, but it's been something that's on my mind. And tomorrow, going to this trampoline world type place, you know, hope it's a fun time for. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a great time. There's a lot, you know, and I'm excited about it. It's been fun watching her grow up over the past 5 years, you know, from teeny tiny, shot up in height, you know, just got tall overnight. She's tall as her mom now. It's crazy. But, you know, it's interesting and it's fun for me. See, Casey, her organs were basically upside down, her uterus and stuff, so she had to have a hysterectomy. If we had like a surrogate, she's got eggs, but, you know, I look at these kids as my own. Casey gets in her head a little bit, thinks, you know, don't you want one? I'm like, they are mine. Shoot, you know, I love them. And, you know, that's all I need. You know what I mean? And that's, but I'm not trying to force it, but I want them to feel like, you know, my sister, I did a post on her. She's photographer for New York Fashion Week. If you type in Paris Mum Power, New York Fashion Week, there's a whole article about her. She photographed Tommy Hilfiger. What's that other woman's name? Slipped my mind right now. She's famous. Can't remember it. You'd know it if I said it. I got it in the post, and a bunch of other people. But if you look that up, I named my sister. She was named after Ninja Turtles. Donatello was getting swung in a circle in the movie, and he said, I should have gone to Paris. Paris. Nutcracker was a play we saw during the time she was born. There's a cute girl that played. I said, name her middle name Claire. So named her first name, middle name, and I raised her, telling her, you're smart, you're beautiful, and you don't have to worry about anybody. I'll bust them up. And there are a couple times I did bust people up. Poured a pile of gasoline, set it on fire, threatened to put a boy in after I beat him up after he hit her with a skateboard the day before. There was a family block party. I beat somebody up after he pushed her into a wall, but she knew I had her back. and I grew up giving her that confidence. So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to do that with Kaylee too. Give her that confidence, to where she feels like she can conquer the world and do it. Because look at my sister now. She's going to I think she's in London now, getting ready to go to Paris next. She's did New York Fashion Week. It's not like she was a photographer. She has her own company, her photography company, like headlined this, like they showcased, like it's huge. I'm so proud of her. I mean, we're very close. She knew what I was doing all the time I was doing it. She never told on me. She kept her mouth shut, but she learned from it. And she's never got involved in none of that because what she saw me get through. And I do regret a lot of the stuff she saw in her. But I couldn't be more proud of how she's turned up. She's got a little boyfriend that's a pop star too. He's a quiet kid. He looks like the second coming of Kurt Cobain. I swear, his name's Danny. I put his stuff on there soon for TikTok. He's got these little pop songs, these annoying little pop songs that'll get stuck in your head and you'll get mad because you can't get them out of your head. He's good though, and they're a good couple. He's good to her. Anybody my sister's with, they got to kind of let her take the role. She's a strong personality, but I'm so proud. I'm very lucky with my sister, mom, my family, my dad. Dad had surgery yesterday. Stepfamily, and then Casey's family, which has become my family now too. I'm very lucky. 5.5, 6 years. 6 years ago I was in prison, federal prison, not having a clue what my life was going to be, and I'm very happy with it now. I'm able to help addicts. I'm doing everything I said I'd do, so it's good now. I've ranted long enough, but this has been on my mind. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.